Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning, Lynette. How are you?
Good.
Oh,
How
hi,
are you? Nice to see everybody this morning.
I know. I'm happy to see you again. I'm actually happy it didn't work out, so I get to talk to you guys a little bit more.
I think so too. We got a lot of great feedback from you. I'm sure you got a lot of emails and stuff from the members.
It was so nice. It was so nice to hear. I'm glad it was received and they didn't think I was off my rocker.
Well, I think that, it's funny that you say that, because I think that anytime you really delve a little bit deeper into spirituality and energy, people think that you're a little woo-woo and wonky. And right. At the end, and it makes people uncomfortable, which I think that it says a lot. We're more inclined to talk about a celebrity than we are about God or energy. Like, it's just, and it's
the unknown.
It's the unknown, but also what it does, it's testing your faith or your view of the world. And when I think people feel conflicted, they feel sometimes attacked when those subjects arise. But I think that if we all are in just in a state of acceptance and understanding that there are greater things and bigger things than us.
Yeah.
And just see it from that perspective, then I think that, it just becomes a little bit easier to deal with.
I think so.
And honestly, you were like so on point. It was really refreshing to just like take in all of the energy that was in that room. And I think we were all in that same space of allowance and receiving and taking it in and really applying the things that you said to not only our personal lives, but our businesses, which is, at the end of the day, I always talk about the 360 lifestyle. We can't separate the two. You can't show up in life one way and then show up at your business a different way. It was just really, really awesome. And I'm so glad
another
that
2 hours.
I know,
when
absolutely.
you went around the room and everybody started speaking, I know everybody really wanted more time with you.
Yeah.
We wanted another 2 hours of you.
The exciting thing is that Jennifer's going to be at our conference. So yeah, if you haven't met Jennifer, and you're looking forward to learning more about what she does, she's definitely going to be there with us, sharing more of her awesome sauce energy and all the
maybe she should explain a little bit about what she does to everybody.
Absolutely.
For 2 minutes, just
Yeah. So I'm a clinical social worker and a life coach. And I also use some of what, like Vanessa said, the woo-woo stuff. I use Reiki in my practice. I use EFT, which is tapping, mindfulness meditation, and then I also use a tool called Human Design, which is a lot of the stuff that we went over at our meeting the other day, which is based in astrology, the I Ching, the chakra system, Kabbalah, and quantum physics. So it really just looks at someone's birth information and gives them their energy blueprint for how they're showing up in the world and how they're receiving from other people.
Are you going to be doing that at the table on April 10th for the Wellness Day?
I will. I will have my computer and I will be running a human design chart for people.
And I have to say, it was really on point.
Mm-hmm.
I felt for myself, and I think
too.
that given that you and I have a partnership, I love to see how our human designs, how they gel and how they don't, and why we are connected to each other, because where I lack, she shines, and
right.
And vice versa, and that's how we're able to complement each other.
But we didn't know it. It's so good that she.
It was real. It was like you're the yin to my yang.
Right.
I think that it's really cool to understand people's personalities and their behaviors, because it just makes it easier. And I just going to relating it to your business. I know that you do this for couples. I know that you do this for mothers and daughters, and to work on their which is so awesome, because when you're able to understand why a person is the way that they are, why they're the way that they are, when you're able to understand, it's just so easy for you to have a conversation with them, or to do business with them, or to just relate with them. So I thought that was amazing. I thought that was wonderful.
Yeah, coming from compassion and coming from understanding, you can get so much more accomplished than when you're coming from my needs, I need this, you need to stop doing that, when you can sort of say, okay, well, this is just your energy. How can we communicate better? knowing that this is how I learn and this is how you learn. So how can we bring that together? So it's no more judgment, like once we get rid of judgment, we can open those so many doors to better relationships and, with ourselves and with other people. And it can be really, really powerful.
No, I loved it. I
loved it too.
I honestly, things like this, like it should be more accessible to people. I mean, I think everybody, whether you're in a business partnership, in a relationship, as a family, I think it's so important to really, I always talk about cutting the BS with ourselves and just get down to business and like, let's understand each other so that we're able to coexist happily, because at the end of the day, I don't think that we're put on this earth to suffer, to fight, to not get along with our spouse, with our friends, with whoever. I think that we're meant to live in community, and when we're able to understand each other, it's just the cherry on top for any kind of relationship. So it's really wonderful that you're able to offer that on different spectrums, as a couple, as a family, as business partners, etc. So
I think so too. Jennifer, when you come on the 10th, are you going to be there from morning to night? You're going to be there the whole time with us?
Yeah, I think so. That was
awesome.
My
Good. Awesome. So we get to talk to her in between too.
So I just want you to, before we go, talk about a little bit, because you do a lot of work. You specialize in mother-daughter relationships, and that's something that you talked extensively about at our meeting. But I just want you to talk a little bit about more about that for our viewers, because obviously we are the think tank for moms. We cater to moms especially, but women in general, just how they can understand how to understand their
how to understand the personality of your daughter, because I have 3. I told you my youngest is 12. 12 is a really tough age. Then I have a 19-year-old in college, and college is a really rough thing. Then I have a 22-year-old who's out of school, who's working full-time but still in my house, so it's 2 adult women. So how do you learn more about the other person without the other person knowing that's what you're doing, so you can get along?
Right. So, I mean, to me, it's all about information. So anything that you're seeing in your daughter is generally a reflection of something inside of you. So when you can work on yourself, and when you are living up to the highest expression of who you're meant to be, people around you start to change. And this is just basic family systems therapy. I mean, it's been tons and tons of research on if you can change one person in the system, everybody else kind of starts to change around you. And I think the first place of that is just not taking it personally. It's not about you. It's, they're just giving you information. She's giving you information about her experience in the world. So it's like, interesting. Like, that's how your experience is, rather than like, you're blaming me, which is a very different energy, which is a very lower, level kind of, we go into blame and fear. If we can move into more of this courageous openness, acceptance space, that's a much higher frequency. And we're going to start to see more of that. I do believe in sort of this law of attraction where, what we focus on grows. Yeah. So when we're focusing on she's this, she's that, sort of these kind of not so nicey things, but if we can say, okay, well, how are these maybe strengths? How are these things that she's showing me going to actually, when she's a mother or in business?
Yeah. That's just feedback from the microphone. Okay. No, one of the things that I think is very important of what you're just saying is that, I think we tend to, and I'm obviously talking to someone who hasn't experienced, whether it's a human design chart or any sort of encounter with just analyzing, your personality traits and just, knowing a little bit more, delving a little bit deeper, like this is real work. I mean, this is not, something that you can just, let's go get a human design chart and like, and let's see what it tells me. And, and there's this magic pill that Jennifer's going to give me and it's all going to be better. I think that one of the things I love about you is that, and I don't want to say the phrase "dumb it down," but it is. You're bringing this extensive work into plain English. Exactly. and into a common conversation that I can have for someone who isn't there, because I think we all go through processes in our spiritual searches and our growth, etc. We all go through these different stages. And for someone who doesn't really quite get it, understand it, or isn't quite there yet, I think that you make it very relatable and digestible. So I want people who are watching this to understand, you know, their stages, and it's okay. And you don't have to be at the cusp where you see angels to, you know, to kind of understand that, no, I mean, it because these are the conversations that I have, you know, and I'm touching on that because, you know, I just came out with my book, and you know that, and I'm not plugging my book in here, but I do talk a lot about spirituality, and because it's, you know, it's part of my everyday practice and I approach everything that I do from a spiritual perspective, correct? So I think that, you know, again, going back to the what I said in the beginning of our conversation is, you know, when you mention God or spirituality or this, people get scared and people freak out and people tend to just lock themselves into that shell. And while it involves work, you know, doing the things that you're saying, you know, trying to have a better relationship with my daughter, with my spouse, with my business partner, with the world in general, how I'm perceived with other people. Yeah. I mean, it involves work. Like, you know, there's no magic pill. We have to be honest with ourselves and understand that, you know, there is there's substance that's there that we have to pay attention to if we genuinely want to show up authentically and you know, and be present and abundant. I could go on for days talking about this, but so sorry, but no, I'm very passionate about it because I know, as you are yourself, you know, I think that we're in a position where we were taught, and I mean in general, you know, society isn't, we were taught that there's a magic pill somewhere and I'm going to feel better all of a sudden. And it doesn't, life isn't that, you know, and I love that you make it a point to ask the tough questions, to have the hard conversations with ourselves and then with our spouses or our family members, etc. Because that's life, you know, and that's what living life holistically is really, you know, where am I lacking, or what's going on here that I need to improve and be better, you know, and there's no race against the world. It's a race against myself and improving. But I'll let you talk. I'm like blabbing here.
Where can everybody get in touch with you if they want to see you?
Yeah, so I mean, we're all so different, and that's wonderful. You know, how you operate is different than from how I operate, and how, you know, how people experience me in the world, and that's how it's supposed to be. You know, none of us are supposed to be the same. So, you know, what I, you know, hope I do for people is to show them that they're beautiful, like they're perfect. They are a piece of the puzzle of our universe, of our world, and that by showing up as themselves, who, you know, in their authentic space, they're going to attract everything that's meant for them. That doesn't mean that it's going to be all roses and butterflies. You know, there's going to be challenges, which are actually, you know, if you go through your history, those challenges have really just been opportunity for growth and for learning more about yourself and learning more about, you know, what do I want out of life? You know, any struggle I've had, it's sort of like, okay, well, this is who I'm going to serve, you know, in a year or so. So instead of looking at suffering as like, we're not supposed to have it, it shouldn't be happening, it's more of like, it's just information. You know, it's just, what can we learn from this? What can we, you know, not take it personally. It doesn't mean that we're, you know, bad people or that we did, you know, karma, whatever it is. You know, it's just information. And when we have information, if we have awareness, then we can take different steps. We can make different choices to say, okay, well, that didn't work so well. You know, let's experiment with this. Let's try this road for a little bit and see and play with it. You know, see how that goes. See if anything shifts in how your brain sees reality. So it's really just your brain telling you, you know, what reality is. Like, it's, you know, not really real. On you.
I love that. So how can people find you? How can people get in touch with you? Aside from seeing you in April and in our conference, how can they reach out to you?
So there's two ways. They can go to my website, which is my name. It's Jennifer, Jennifer, Bronsnick, JenniferBronsnick.com. And then they can also find me at themindfulfamily.com. And there's journaling, there's tons of good stuff on there.
Awesome.